The animal kingdom. A remarkable collection of living, breathing natural wonders. Enthralling. Impressive. Tenacious. And nurturing. Innovative. Tough. Surprising. Always genuine. Discover their past, present, and future. Just breathtaking. Just intriguing. Just tremendous. Just animals. Sharks. The name alone is enough to inspire both awe and fear. These prehistoric predators cruise through every ocean on the planet. Streamlined, flexible, and deadly. They're efficient hunters, infamous for their attacks on humans. Yet this notoriety is, to some extent, unfair. Shark attacks are rare events. Annually, the average toll is 4, compared to about 1 million deaths caused by mosquito bites. In addition, accidents with inanimate objects, such as fireworks and vending machines, are reported to take more victims every year than sharks. The reality is, only a small number of more than 500 species are dangerous to us. More than half are less than 1 meter long. Most are timid, and many don't even look the part. There are plenty of reasons to be fascinated rather than afraid of these fish, such as the fact they can all detect electricity and vibrations, giving them 7 amazingly useful senses. Sharks cannot vocalize. Instead, they express themselves through their actions. As for their famous teeth, these carnivores can grow more than 30,000 of them in a lifetime. Ancient mariners referred to them as sea dogs. Their modern name is less complimentary. It's thought to come from the German word Schurk, meaning scoundrel. These once vilified sea creatures are slowly gaining respect. Recognized for their intelligence and enduring nature. Sharks having patrolled the world's oceans long before dinosaurs existed. Though polarizing, their role in marine ecosystems is undeniable. In the underwater realm, sharks reign supreme. Sharks belong to a relatively exclusive group of animals. filled with high-profile members. They are vertebrates, creatures with a backbone, a feature only found in 5% of all species on Earth. This wide-ranging collection is divided into 5 main groups: mammals, reptiles, birds, amphibians, and fish, which make up almost half of all vertebrates. There are close to 30,000 species of fish, which are all ectotherms, or cold-blooded. Experts sort these aquatic creatures according to the structure of their mouth and skeleton type. The superclass Agnatha is comprised of about 120 types of jawless fish, such as hagfish and deep-water lampreys. The largest superclass is Osteichthyes, better known as bony fish. This group is populated by about 28,000 species. Not surprisingly, it includes some of the most recognizable varieties in the marine and freshwater worlds. The final class is Chondrichthyes, fish with skeletons made from strong, flexible tissue called cartilage. Sharks, skates, and rays belong to the subclass Elasmobranchi. While the internal framework of cartilaginous fish is their defining feature, other traits also set them apart from their bony relatives. Rather than flat scales, elasmobranchs have a tough coating of placoid scales, thousands of tiny teeth-like structures that point towards their tail, which reduce drag when the animal swims. While most fish breathe through a single gill on either side of their body, protected by a flap, elasmobranchs have 5 to 7 pairs of gills, which do not have an external cover. In addition, when compared to bony fish, cartilaginous species tend to live longer, mature later, and produce fewer young. There are 10 orders of elasmobranchs. Sharks make up 9 of them. The 10th includes both rays and skates. They differ from their shark cousins in a number of ways. Their gills are on the underside of their bodies. They have enlarged pectoral fins, some being wing-like. And they lack the rows of tearing teeth seen in their infamous relatives. While sharks vary greatly, they do share several common attributes. They have at least 5 types of fins to assist with stability and steering, including the all-important caudal or tail fin that has a large upper lobe that helps them to power through the water. Sharks are classified according to their body features and habitat. And there's more to this group of fish than just the usual suspects. 6 out of 9 orders are rarely seen, living out of the public eye on the sea floor or at great depths. The more familiar varieties belong to the other 3 orders, one being the carpet sharks. They include some of the most ornate species, such as wobbegongs and epaulets, plus the majestic whale shark. Another common order are the ground sharks, the biggest collection with more than 270 types, including all the reef species, plus tiger, bull, and hammerhead sharks. Finally, the mackerel sharks, which boast incredibly powerful fish, such as great whites, makos, and thresher sharks. From the petite to the powerful, sharks are a remarkable clan of marine animals. When sharks are mentioned, the image that automatically comes to mind is not a true reflection of the incredible diversity seen amongst these fish. With more than 500 species spread across 9 orders, there is no such thing as a standard shark. While only a fraction, this is an opportunity to become better acquainted with more fascinating members of the shark family. One rarely seen example is the tiniest member of the clan, the dwarf lantern shark, smaller than a human hand. At the other extreme, the whale shark, that can grow to the length of a bus. Of the lesser-known sharks, some are benthic, slow-moving species that spend their lives around the seabed. Others are coast or reef dwellers, energetic sharks that require a constant supply of food. And then there are the pelagics, strong, opportunistic migratory sharks that hunt in the open ocean. The most primitive species are the ones that stay down deep. The aptly named six-gill shark is one of the most common species, but it's rarely sighted, despite living in many of the world's oceans. That's because most of their time is spent at least a kilometer below the surface. Cow sharks, or seven gills, are a throwback to pre-dinosaur days. Found in tropical and temperate waters, they've never developed a large dorsal or back fin, and retain at least one extra set of gills than normal. One of the largest predatory fish prefers the cold, dark depths of the Arctic. To survive in such a challenging environment, the Greenland shark moves slowly to conserve energy. It can grow up to 6 meters and is thought to have a lifespan stretching to an incredible 300 years. Smaller benthic sharks rely on special adaptations to survive. The spiny dogfish is a resident of the northern Atlantic and Pacific Oceans and only grows to around a meter. For protection, it has a venomous spine in front of its 2 dorsal fins, capable of delivering a toxic dose to any predator that gets too close. Angel sharks prefer to hide to stay safe and to grab their next meal. Found in temperate and tropical seas, they bury themselves in the sand to go unnoticed. Wobbegongs are another species designed to blend in. Their front tassels enhance their disguise. These small members of the carpet shark family live amongst coral and rubble around Australia's coastline. epaulet shark shares a similar habitat. This easy-to-identify species is named for the dark patches on either side of its body, reminiscent of military decorations. Apart from their fashion sense, they're known for something far more impressive. They can walk. By using their pectoral and pelvic fins as feet, they can stroll over the coral, both in and out of the water. Their much larger relative, the zebra shark, relies on its size to survive. From the tropical Indo-Pacific, they can grow to more than 3 meters, their tail making up half that length. They're named for the striped pattern they display as juveniles. These passive creatures share their coral-encrusted habitat with several species of reef sharks. Most of them grow to less than 2 meters, but they're still considered apex predators within their ecosystem. They're common in tropical zones of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Black tips are named for the color on the top of their dorsal fins. They often swim in water less than 30 centimeters deep, exposing their namesake fin. White tips are generally smaller and swim a little deeper, resting on the seafloor or under ledges for protection. Grey reef sharks are the largest and fastest of the three, able to reach speeds of 40 kilometers an hour. Most encounters with these curious animals tend to happen near steep drop-offs. Tiger sharks are frequent visitors to coral reefs in the Pacific. Growing up to 5 meters, these strong, stocky fish will eat virtually anything, earning them the nickname garbage cans of the sea. They are one of the few species that pose a threat to humans. Bull sharks have an unusual choice of habitat in that they can tolerate fresh water, expanding their territory into river systems around the world. These thick-bodied ground sharks can weigh up to 130 kilograms. Their size and aggressive nature make a lethal combination. These bizarre-looking fish also belong to the ground shark group. Hammerheads are known to reach 6 meters in length and weigh almost half a ton. Their unusual head shape gives them a better field of vision than most other sharks. Hammerheads hunt between the edge of the continental shelf and the shallows in tropical and temperate waters around the world. With their large teeth and pointed snouts, grey nurse sharks look menacing. But these docile animals pose little threat. A type of mackerel shark, they target small fish and lobsters in gullies and inlets close to shore. Due to their global distribution, they've come to be known by several names, including sand tigers and ragged-toothed sharks. These slow swimmers grow to around 3 meters. Mako sharks live in the open ocean, which classifies these mackerel sharks as pelagic. These sleek creatures are extremely fast swimmers. The short-fin mako can travel more than 18 meters per second in short bursts. They're one of the few sharks that can maintain a body temperature higher than the surrounding water, making them more responsive than most species in cooler climates. It's a trait shared by the great white shark, the ultimate underwater hunter. These solid, torpedo-shaped animals are the most powerful fish in the ocean. They can weigh over 2 tons and able to reach speeds of more than 50 kilometers an hour thanks to their large, muscular tail. 300 serrated, triangular teeth allow them to shatter bone with a bite twice as strong as a lion's. These migratory sharks follow their food supply through cool coastal waters. The largest populations are found around South Africa, Australia, and America. And it's no coincidence these are the top 3 locations for shark attacks. Not all pelagic sharks are such fearsome predators. Double the size of a great white and weighing the same as a small truck, the basking shark is an intimidating sight. But these gentle giants crave small prey. They move through the temperate zones north and south of the equator, following schools of tiny fish and crustaceans. As imposing as they are, basking sharks are only 2/3 the size of the world's largest fish. Whale sharks have a mouth as wide as a small human is tall. When fully grown, they can be up to 18 meters in length. To get to this size, they filter feed on plankton as they migrate around the Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans. These impressive animals are in no rush. They swim at a leisurely 5 kilometers an hour. Their skin is 15 centimeters thick, 3 times that of a rhino, and the toughest of any fish. Predators are rare, but to make them less noticeable, their spots reflect and disperse light. When being studied, these markings help researchers identify individuals, as each pattern is unique to every whale shark. Swimming at the top of the food chain with little to fear except each other, as a group, it's difficult not to be impressed by sharks. Sharks have been able to dominate oceans for millions of years, thanks to a range of clever adaptations. Their cartilaginous skeleton is half as dense as bone, requiring less energy to move around. A shark's buoyancy is controlled by its liver, which makes up a quarter of their body weight. It's filled with an oily substance called squalene, which is lighter than water and helps them stay off the seabed as long as they keep swimming. A shark's body naturally reduces drag due to being tapered at both ends, plus its coating of sandpaper-like skin. What really boosts their efficiency in the water are their fins. Sharks have 5 different types. The dorsal fins on their back aid with stability, preventing them from rolling over. On some species, a rear anal fin also assists with balance. Pectoral fins on each side act like wings, controlling direction and giving them lift. Ventral or pelvic fins underneath help them to turn. Their strength comes from their caudal or tail fin, driving them through the water as it swings back and forth. In one family, the tail is more than just a means of propulsion. thresher sharks are recognized by their generous caudal fins, the longest in relation to body size of any species. These fast, efficient hunters have turned their tail into weapons. They can whip them at more than 100 kilometers an hour to stun prey. With a number of heightened senses, sharks are adept at finding food. Their sense of smell is legendary. Great whites can detect a single drop of blood in 10 billion drops of water, the volume of an Olympic-sized pool. As a shark swims, water passes into its nose and across sensory organs, which are highly sensitive to minute amounts of chemical signals. Their two nostrils work independently of each other to help determine the direction of the smell. Sharks have an even more impressive sense. They can pick up electrical currents over vast distances. Every time an animal moves, its muscles contract, creating an electrical field. Sharks up to 10 kilometers away can detect these silent signals through special cells on their head called ampullae of Lorenzini. Hammerheads have the highest number of these receptor pores. About 3,000 spread across their broad snouts that help them locate their favorite meal of stingrays. With this extrasensory perception, sharks rely less on sight than many other animals. Most species have better vision in low light or at nighttime, thanks to a reflective layer of tissue at the back of their eyeball called the tapetum lucidum. Sharks have eyelids which partially close if under attack. Some have the added protection of a clear cover called a nictitating membrane. Those without can roll their eyes back to protect their cornea and pupil. Teeth are, of course, a vital tool in making sharks top predators. And they have plenty of them. Multiple rows with ready replacements if one gets damaged or falls out, which happens often. Sharks also differ in how they breathe. Like other fish, sharks extract oxygen from water as it passes over their gills. But the method they use depends on how they live. Benthic sharks, such as tawny nurses and wobbegongs, use muscles in their mouth to draw water in, a process known as buccal pumping. Behind their eyes, they have additional respiratory openings called spiracles, which are particularly useful if they're buried in sand. Other sharks, such as the tiger, can also use ram ventilation to breathe. They swim with their mouth partially open to force water over their gills. Some species have no choice but to constantly move, having lost their ability to use buccal pumping. These are the obligate ram ventilators, including great whites, makos, and whale sharks, all of which would die if they stopped moving. In so many different ways, these highly sensitive animals have learned to adapt and thrive in the aquatic world. Sharks are one of the animal kingdom's greatest survivors. For more than 400 million years, they have evolved and persisted where other equally fearsome creatures have died off. With no bones to fossilize, there is little evidence of early species. apart from their teeth and calcified scales. Shark tooth fossils are often discovered far inland, showing where prehistoric oceans once existed. Until 100 million years ago, many bore little resemblance to modern sharks. Prehistoric examples, such as Xenacanthus, had the body shape of an eel. Helicoprion had a whorl of teeth similar to a buzzsaw. The Megalodon, or big tooth, was one of the most terrifying and recognizable of the ancient species. This massive predator was 3 times as large as a great white, each of its teeth the size of a human hand. It's thought to have become extinct almost 2 million years ago. Some primitive examples that lived in deep water still exist today, such as the frilled shark. This serpent-like creature has been in existence for about 80 million years. It lives at least 100 meters below the surface in many of the world's oceans. Cow sharks are also direct descendants of ancient species. The majority of modern sharks have evolved significantly from their ancestors, being more streamlined and faster in the water. As for relatives, they have many, including more than 600 species of skates and rays, some of which are mistaken for sharks, such as the sawfish. They may have changed considerably over the ages, but sharks have always commanded respect in the oceans of the blue planet. When it comes to behavior, there is more to a shark than their ability to lurk. Sharks are curious, intelligent animals with a brain-to-body mass ratio similar to mammals. They are most active in the afternoons and evenings. Sharks never fall asleep, as they require a level of consciousness to keep breathing. Constant swimmers can switch onto a natural autopilot mode, where they cruise at a slower speed to conserve energy. Smaller benthic species are more vulnerable, often seeking the shelter of caves, or resting on the substrate alongside others, increasing their odds of survival. Reef sharks are highly philopatric, meaning they spend most of their lives gliding over the same few square kilometers of coral. As with most sharks, they are usually loners, but they will occasionally gather with other reef sharks to breed. Or, if food is abundant, they'll intermingle with other species. The normally solitary zebra shark becomes social every summer off the coast of Australia. Up to 50 of these fish can congregate in one place. The purpose of these get-togethers remains a mystery, as there's no evidence of mating. In contrast, grey nurse sharks are gregarious year-round. They're commonly found in small aggregations of up to 20, resting close to shore. These slow swimmers need to hunt cooperatively to catch fish. Scalloped hammerheads form the largest schools of any shark. Groups of more than 100 join the mass migration to cooler waters in the warmer months. Their journey can cover more than 3,000 kilometers. Great whites swim long distances without food. These apex predators can live off fat stored in their livers as they migrate between feeding grounds. These powerful sharks coast at a leisurely pace, covering only 80 kilometers a day. The world's biggest fish is even slower, but constantly on the move. In 1 year, a whale shark was tracked swimming 20,000 kilometers from Panama to the Philippines as it followed spawning plankton. These epic journeys are not always solitary. Suckerfish or remoras often go along for the ride, living off leftovers from their hosts' meals. Together or alone, sharks have demonstrated the lengths they'll go to in order to survive. There might be hundreds of different types of sharks, some well known, others less so. But they all have one thing in common. None of them offer any parental support to their babies. Gestation periods can last for 5 months for a white-tip, and up to 3 years for a basking shark. Some species carry a single pup. Others, close to 100. When they come into the world, baby sharks do so in one of 3 ways. At least 100 species are oviparous, or egg layers. These include most of the smaller benthic sharks, such as epaulets, Port Jacksons, bamboos, and even the larger zebra shark. Developing embryos are protected in egg cases called mermaid's purses. The mother secures them amongst seagrasses, coral, and rocks. She uses fine tendrils to keep them in place, as it takes up to 12 months for the young to develop. Even in this embryonic state, the babies can sense predators nearby and will stop all movement until the danger has passed. The majority of sharks give birth to live young, but they're nurtured in 2 distinct ways. Viviparous species are much like mammals. They nourish their embryos internally via a placenta. This group includes reef sharks, hammerheads, makos, and whale sharks. The other form of live birth is called ovoviparity, where the eggs hatch inside the mother. This is the case for many species, such as great whites, grey nurses, and tiger sharks. How long they live depends on the species. As a general rule, the larger the shark, the longer the life expectancy. Most will live around 20 to 30 years. Great whites can survive to 70. Whale sharks to 100 years, which is still only a third as long as the impressive endurance of a Greenland shark. With hundreds of species, what a shark dines on and how they capture it varies greatly. Mid-sized sharks predominantly eat fish. Their small, sharp teeth are ideal for holding on to slippery bodies. Feeding sessions often occur at night, and cooperative hunting is common when there's ample food to go round. Benthic species, such as angel sharks, rely on the element of surprise for a meal. They use suction to capture small fish, mollusks, and crustaceans. Their tiny teeth hold and crush their catch, as they're not designed for tearing. The world's largest fish are like giant vacuum cleaners, swimming along in search of microscopic food. With mouths wide open, whale sharks and basking sharks draw in 6,000 liters of water every hour, a similar volume to about 20 bathtubs. Bristly structures lining their gills strain out plankton and krill. This form of filter feeding is time-consuming. Almost a third of their day is devoted to eating, with the hope of netting around 40 kilograms of food. Generally speaking, the better-known sharks are renowned for their eating habits. But, more often than not, their appetite is exaggerated. On average, these famous carnivores eat less than 3% of their body weight a day. Lions and tigers can consume more than double that. The great white is the most formidable of the aquatic hunters, due to its combination of size, strength, and razor-sharp teeth. Seals are one of this apex predator's preferred foods. Great whites attack from underneath, able to launch themselves 3 meters into the air to snatch an unsuspecting mammal. The method is brutal, but effective. Hunting doesn't happen every day. 30 kilograms of blubber from one seal will satisfy a great white for a fortnight. Tiger sharks have the most varied diet of any fish species. These large predators typically hunt in warmer waters than great whites. They target marine mammals such as dugongs, large fish, including rays and other sharks, and they're particularly fond of turtles, turning up at their breeding areas to take advantage of the gathering crowds. Seabirds resting on the surface can also be on their menu. This hungry tiger shark is determined. Large sharks have few natural predators, apart from killer whales. Smaller ones are at risk of becoming prey to bigger fish. A shark's main role is to keep the oceans in check, ensuring populations further down the food chain stay balanced, which benefits all marine ecosystems. It's an essential job these proficient hunters have embraced. From the moment they were first sighted, sharks have captured our attention and divided opinion. Ancient mariners feared them as monsters, responsible for souls lost at sea. In Hawaii, a shark can be regarded as an aumakua, the reincarnation of an ancestor. Traditional weapons sometimes featured shark teeth. In Maori mythology, the Milky Way was created by the demigod Maui, after he fought a shark-like monster and placed it in the sky. During World War II, intimidating shark faces were painted onto the noses of planes. These daunting fish have also been depicted as objects of horror in popular culture, the notorious stars of many books and films. Their presence has inspired location names around the world, such as Shark's Cove in Hawaii and Shark Bay in Western Australia. Astute surfers respect these fish, cautiously sharing coastlines and reef breaks with them. Our intrigue has spawned a multi-million-dollar industry to interact on their terms. Infrequent attacks create headlines. Chance encounters sensationalized as targeted campaigns of terror. Love them or hate them, sharks have earned their place of prominence in our world. Generally speaking, sharks are portrayed as invincible apex predators with nothing to fear. This impression is garnered from the actions of a few notorious species. But it is not the case for the majority of sharks. From lesser-known filter feeders through to famous hunters, sharks are surprisingly vulnerable. Almost half of their species are listed at risk. We are their greatest threat. Overfishing is the biggest problem due to the high demand for shark fin soup. This Asian delicacy takes a huge toll on populations, and for very little gain, as most of the animal is discarded. Another issue is how many sharks become bycatch victims, with benthic species getting entangled in commercial nets or snagged on long lines designed for bony fish. It's estimated 100 million sharks are killed every year around the world. Compared to a handful of fatal attacks on humans, the balance is very much in our favor. The reality is, we're far more likely to be taken out by a falling coconut or a lightning strike than by a shark. Even pufferfish cause more deaths, yet that doesn't stop the fear factor. Culling the top predators creates long-term imbalance in our oceans. Some of our impacts are less direct. Coastal pollution and global warming affect reef habitats, where many shark species breed and hunt, forcing them to move elsewhere. The sad fact is, as human populations have increased, shark numbers have plummeted. Due to their low reproduction rates, recovery can take time. Scientists have raised the alarm, and authorities are listening. 3 of the most vulnerable species, the great white, basking, and whale sharks, are now protected internationally. Shark sanctuaries have been declared in key coastal areas around the world, and many countries have imposed fisheries management policies to safeguard these ocean predators. Education programs are starting to make a difference at the community level. More people are learning to appreciate the importance of this vast collection of marine animals. There are multiple campaigns to phase out shark fin soup, to clean up beaches and reduce emissions. It's a long and involved process, but the benefits are immeasurable. Sharks of all shapes and sizes are vital in any ocean. Many will never be seen and pose no threat. A few are misunderstood for trying to survive. But no matter how fast or slow, how daring or timid, after millions of years, sharks deserve to be celebrated as guardians of the sea.